Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and today we're going to make this little pendant. It kind of looks like a wreath and it has a little cabochon stone. It only uses one piece of 20 gauge round wire, and I think it's really cute. Mine is plant themed. I have a little leaf going on here, but you can make this whatever theme you want. And before we get started, I just want to say I hope that if you like this video, you'll consider subscribing to my channel. Less than half of the people that watch my videos are actually subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell as well to be notified of when I make new videos, which is every weekend. And if you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button as well. That really helps me out and helps my videos get seen. So without further ado, let's make this pendant. So we're gonna use one piece of 20 gauge wire. It's just round copper wire. It's dead soft. And the piece that I cut here is 16 inches or 41 centimeters long. The stone I'm going to be using is this little tiny round Peach Moonstone. It's about 8 to 9 millimeters in size. Just anything roughly this size will be good. Another thing you're going to need is something round to shape your wire around. So here I have a ring mandrel, but you don't have to have a ring mandrel. You can just have anything round that is like a larger size, so maybe not like a pen or a pencil because that would be too small, but something a little on the larger side so you can make yourself a circular shape. So I'm just bending the wire around my ring mandrel, just roughly here, so it's somewhat of a large circle. I'll show you guys. So it looks roughly like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put that back on. And I want the wires. This is very similar to making a ring. I have a very simple ring tutorial that basically starts out just like this, where we have the wires and we're just bending them to kind of hook them onto each other. And it's starting to create this little spiral here. And the little spiral is going to form a base for our stone to sit on. So now you can take that off. And now I use my pliers and I just kind of squish this flat. And I take the rounded portion and I just kind of bend this up like that. And I know that the circle doesn't look perfect anymore because on this side you have it a little higher and on this side you have it a little lower, but it's going to get covered up, and you can also kind of try to adjust it if you wanted to make this side that's lower, that's a little higher, you can try to lower it a little bit or just kind of change the shape of it. So now we're just going to take our stone, we're going to sit it on this little base, as long as the base is big enough for your stone to sit on. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start turning these wires. So we're continuing the wires basically how they were before, but now since the stone is there, they're going on the edges of our stone. And just try to keep it tight right around the edge. Don't leave big gaps and do kind of one wire at a time. And at one point, your stone is going to start to feel secure. Like these wires have gone around it enough times and have kind of formed this spiral around it. And it's getting smaller, the window's getting smaller, and because it's a domed cabochon, the cabochon is wider on the bottom, and then it gets smaller because it's domed, so it won't be able to come out of this little window that gets created. So at that point, you take your wires and just whatever wire is closer to whatever side. So this wire is kind of coming here towards this side, so I'm just putting it through and I'm wrapping it around this wire here. That is our round circular wire. And then same thing here on the other side. I flip this upside down so it'll be a little easier for me, but I'm just putting that through and just kind of wrapping it around to secure the stone. So this is kind of like the way we made a ring a while back, but instead of the stone facing up, it's facing us forward. And now if you need to kind of adjust anything, here's your chance to do that. So I'm just gonna kind of press on this, try to get maybe this wire to go just slightly lower down. There we go, because it was like really on the stone. Just gonna squish this a little bit. Same thing here on the other side, just kind of squish that. Make sure it's all tight. All right, so now it's up to you, but it's always nice to hammer. If you have just a 20 gauge wire like this one, hammering it will give it some strength. So if you have a chasing block and a hammer, you would just place it on there, and just being careful obviously to avoid the stone and the other wires there. You would just hammer only this portion. I'm just gonna put this on the ground and do this off camera, but it'll just make the wire a little bit stronger and less flexible. All right, so here's what it looks like after being hammered, and if you didn't hammer it, that's okay too. It just kind of makes it look flatter, gives it a little bit of texture. So now what's left to do, this is pretty much a complete pendant. If you wanted to trim these wires, you could. It would look just like this, but I would like to add some little details and decorations into these this hollow area that has been formed. And to do that, I'm going to use these wires here and bring this one kind of up, complete this little wrap here that it's making. So I'm going to use these wires and I'm going to go ahead and decorate with them. So you can have them go just right around the edge up here and have it remain hollow in the center, or you can do things with them that kind of fill in this as well. There's lots of possibilities. One fun one would be to do like a wave, like an ocean wave. If that's something you want to see a separate video on, I'm happy to do that. This one is a little bit plant inspired, the one that I'm making. So I'm gonna make a little leaf, and to do that I'm just gonna take this wire. I'm gonna start on this one first, and I'm just bending it. Then I'm kind of squishing. Then I'm holding that little squished tip with my pliers, and I'm just kind of bending this way and then bending that way, and then kind of forms the shape of a leaf like this. And so you can just hold that leaf and then take this little wire here and just bring it kind of down here in the back. Okay, so I'm just going to press down on everything like that. And now I'm going to take this wire and bring it back through the center here like this. So you can make your leaf. I just don't want it to stick out too much, so I'm just kind of curving it this way so it's less likely to get caught on stuff. So I'm just going to take this wire and I'm just going to wrap it around. Like this. So I found a little bead that fits onto this wire. It's just a little faceted bead, and I'm just going to add that. So I don't want the bead right on top of here because then I feel like it kind of makes it stick up. So I'm just kind of curving this, and I'm making just something that looks like this. So this wire is kind of curving first to the left and then to the right. And I have these really nice super tiny copper beads. They're just 2mm beads. It's the same place I buy my wire, Rio Grande. And they fit nicely on this wire here, on this 20 gauge wire. So I'm just gonna slide a couple of them on there just to fill in that little gap. And now I'm just gonna finish this wire. So I'm gonna finish it by wrapping it around. So I'm holding the little bead area that I created there. I don't want that to move out of place. And because this little wire end is so small, I'm using my pliers to try and wrap it around because it's kind of hard to do it with your fingers. And now you would trim it. Mine's already very short, so I don't need to trim it. But you basically want your little wire end to end up here on the inside edge, so it's not sticking out the back or the front. So mine actually worked out perfectly. I don't know what are the chances of that, but the little wire end is right here. So the back is smooth, the top and the front, they're all kind of perfect there. So that's this side completed. I'm kind of working on the edges here, the outer edges. So with this wire, I'm gonna bring it completely around to the back. Use my pliers to make that nice and tight. So it's just going straight up. Now I'm going to bring it through the center to the front like this, and what I want is to create a bend in it like this. And this little bend, I'm going to squish it down with my pliers so that the tip of it is completely squished like this. Just kind of line it all up, squish it all down. And now, just leave it for now. I know it looks funny, but we'll make it look better. Now I'm just going to continue wrapping this all the way around using my pliers because 20 gauge wire is so thick, and the pliers will ensure that it's a nice tight wrap. So I'm going to go ahead and put it from back to front through the middle here, and now I just press on it a little bit here from the back. All right, so now here it is coming out. I kind of curved it here, gave it a little curve, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some beads there as well. So I'm gonna do a little copper bead. You can do whatever you want and whatever beads you prefer. Since this is kind of a plant theme, if you have little beads that look like flowers or leaves, that might be fun. But I'm just doing plain little beads, have another blue bead that's a faceted bead. So I'm kind of sliding that on there. Actually, because that doesn't take up, there's a lot of space left. I think what I want to do is I want to do 2 little copper beads. And then the little faceted bead and 2 more copper beads. I think that will just work better with the spacing. Perfect. So here's what that looks like. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and bring that in here. Just like this, kind of wrap it around a little bit. And feel free to kind of do your own thing here. If you think something will look better, like if you're like, oh, I really wish this had another leaf on the other side and it was kind of more symmetrical, feel free to do that. This is one of those designs that I find when you make it, it just ends up different every time for everybody. What I want to do now is just make like a little swirl or something with this. There we go. That's a nice little swirl. And that kind of brings us almost at the top. Maybe if I do just one more swirl in the other direction. I'm just trying to have this wire end roughly at the same spot that the other wire ends, so we just have like a little gap here in the center. So I ended up just swirling it in one direction, swirling it in the other. Now I'm gonna hold it and I'm just gonna wrap using my pliers. I'm wrapping the round wire around the little frame. Just making sure it's nice and tight. So this one I am gonna trim so that there's just the teeniest little wire end, so that when I press down on that wire end, it ends up kind of being here in the inside area. There we go. Can't feel it from the front or the back. All good. All right, so now with this, you're probably wondering, this little stick sticking out here. So you can curve it either kind of curving this way or curving the other way. I'm trying to think which way would look better. I'm thinking I'm gonna curve it that way. So I have my round nose pliers here. I'm just gonna grab the tip of it and I'm just gonna create a nice little curve here, like this. So you can have it be like a completely closed loop, or you can open it up a little bit like this. I think that looks good. In terms of the necklace, I'm wearing this on a necklace. You can always add a little jump ring here or make a little bail. It's totally up to you. Or, and I think this looks cool in this particular case, which is why I've decided just to go with this option. If you just take a cord necklace, sorry, let me do that a little slower. So you take a cord necklace and you take the middle of it where you want the pendant to hang, and you put it through here, and then you just kind of bend it, and then you take the two ends and you pull them through this little loop. This is called a lark's knot, and it's just a way to attach a necklace. And I think it looks really cool like this. So it's totally up to you what you prefer in terms of your bail, but there it is, all finished. Cute little plant inspired pendant. And then I just want to show you one that I made here for practice. So this one I obviously added a lot more to. So I had my original 20 gauge wire around the edges here, and then I took some 26 gauge wire and I twisted it and I put like a bead on it here and I kind of added more elements to it. So if you wanted to fill in the inside, this is kind of one way. This is just how it would look versus when it's hollow on the inside. So it's a little more busy looking, but I know some people might like this, some people might like this. But basically that's it. The possibilities are endless, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.